Right guys, M-Tech Guy here. Now we're taking a look at the E60 M5 today. Now if you've been following the channel right from the start, you'll have seen that I've been putting videos out at the end of each year of ownership of this vehicle, just having a chat about what parts it's taken to keep it on the road, what preventative maintenance I've done each year. So it's that time of year again. I've owned the car for 6 years now, and in today's video we're going to have a chat about what jobs I've done to the car in the last 12 months to keep it running good, keeping it on the road and keeping it in good health. So I think it is worth mentioning I haven't had to actually do that much to it in the last 12 months, especially in comparison to what I've done each year over the last 5 years. And strangely enough, I've probably driven it way more in the last 12 months and I've really enjoyed driving the vehicle. I've had a few weeks off work recently and I've been shooting around the city, running a few errands, visiting a few people. I've always taken the E60 M5 and I absolutely love driving the thing. And like I've mentioned before on the channel, it's strange, this vehicle, because I like it more and more the longer that I own it. I don't ever plan on selling the vehicle, and that's a big part of why I want to look after the car properly. It's such a great car, it's nice and comfortable, it's got so much power, and the noise, that noise of the engine, it just never gets old. Every opportunity I get to put my foot down just to open it up, even if I'm not going that fast, just to open them revs up, I usually drop the window down or open the sunroof, and that noise never gets old. It's like a mechanical orchestra, and there's no other car like it. Certainly no other BMW, and this is the last V10. So first off, just over 12 months ago, I took it for a warrant of fitness, an annual inspection here in New Zealand. It did pass, but there was an advisory on there for one of the rear suspension arms. The rubber boot was slightly torn, so that was just an advisory. It didn't fail on that, but it was something I wanted to get sorted right away. So I've got the upper, rear, front. This is a bit confusing, isn't it? The rear, upper, front suspension arm. Replaced the whole arm. Obviously it comes with the ball joint, the boot, all complete. I didn't buy a genuine part, got an OEM equivalent. It's been good as gold. So that was that little problem sorted. And then one minor, tiny little problem, but it was a slight frustration, was the driver's door lock pin trim surround. And for some reason that got broken. I don't know how, but it got to the stage where every time I unlocked the car with the central lock-in, that little trim would buckaroo its way across the vehicle, and then it got lost. So in the end I bought a new one. Unfortunately the part has been discontinued, but there was an equivalent one available through BMW. It doesn't fit as perfect as the original one, I've noticed since fitting it, but it's good enough, and it's certainly better than a broken one or one that wasn't there at all. And then the other thing I took a look at was the driver's seat thigh support gear, just like the passenger side, which I'd done about a year or two ago. The little plastic gear had broken. You can normally tell because the operation starts to get a bit clicky. So before it failed completely with the thigh support in a position that I probably wouldn't want it in, I pulled it apart. I pulled the old gear out and we replaced it with a brass one. They're super cheap. You can pick them up on eBay, Amazon, wherever. They're all over the place. It's a good little upgrade. They are a little bit more noisy than the originals, but it's going to last a lot longer. So I shouldn't have to worry about that failing anytime soon. So that, guys, is pretty much it. That's all I've done to it in the last 12 months. I haven't even given it an oil change. Now, when I first bought this car, I had a bit of an obsession. I was like, right, I'm going to change the oil either every 5,000 kilometers or 6 months. I wanted to keep it fresh. I wanted to look after them rod bearings. And I've done it pretty much every 6 months because I don't really drive more than 5,000 in a year. And the last 2 oil changes I did, if you've been following your channel, you'll see that I took some oil samples. Everything was looking good as gold, but I was starting to get the feeling that I'm probably changing the oil way too often, even though it's nice that you're pretty much driving around with fresh oil all the time. I think it was a bit overkill. The 10W60 isn't cheap and it takes 9.3, 9.4 litres, so I think it was an expensive exercise that was a waste of money and a waste of time, to be honest. So I'm going to stretch them out to 1 year or 5,000 kilometers, whichever comes first. So I'm probably just about overdue for another oil change. I should have really got one done just recently, but I'll get one done in the near future. And again, we'll get an oil sample done, and then it'll be good just to take a comparison of what them readings look like after leaving it a year versus 6 months like the other 2 readings. But anyway, yeah, just 3 little small jobs like that. The seat gear, the door lock pin trim, and that suspension arm. And that's it. And what, the car's a 2005, so it's 20 years old this year. A 20-year-old car that's meant to have a really bad reputation for being horrendously unreliable. That's all I've had to do in the last 12 months, and I've driven it a heck of a lot in that time. It's a fantastic car. I'm still very happy with it, and even after the money that I've spent on it over that time, yes, I've done a lot of preventative maintenance, and yes, I've spent a bit of money here and there, but there's been nothing major so far, touch wood. And if you want to check out what I've done previously over the previous 5 years, I'll put a link to them videos in the description there, and if you haven't already seen them, then you can go through and get a good idea of what it's taken to keep this on the road and look after it properly. You might find it interesting if you own one of these vehicles, or if you're looking to get into one yourself. And as you guys know, we like to keep things real on this channel, and I like to give you guys an accurate representation of what it's like to own one of these cars in the real world, a real world experience. I'm not sensationalizing anything, and hopefully this video will give you a good idea of what the ownership experience is really like. Rightio, if you found the video interesting or useful, don't forget to give it a like, and make sure you go and check out the rest of my YouTube channel for more BMW E60 M5 content. Consider subscribing if that's your cup of tea. I'm M Tech Guy. Thanks a lot for watching.